Scott, defeat here at Oldham. What were your sort of thoughts on the game?
Yeah, not good enough today. I think we were second best throughout the game, all over the pitch. I felt that we looked shell-shocked, certainly in that first 25 minutes. First half, we looked shell-shocked the way they seemed to play on the front foot. We was on the back foot, and if it wasn't for Chappie, it could have been 3 or 4-0 after probably 20 minutes. So we certainly didn't turn up today. Especially in that first half, and then there's still moments where we have good play, but yeah, we're way off it today, way off the mark. So yeah, I'm disappointed with that. Disappointed. The dressing room's really hurting at the moment, really hurting. My job is to pick the boys up and on to the next one. We've got to continue because we've got a fight on our hands now, and we've got to try and win that fight. And at the moment, we're losing it. So yeah, we've got to stick together in the dressing room and fight for one another, because I saw a team second best today.
As you say, Chappie keeping us in it for the first 20 minutes. After that, I'm not saying we played brilliantly, but we sort of composed ourselves a little bit, tried to get back into the game, and then it's a mistake that ends up leading to a goal.
Yeah, we have moments in the game where we look okay, but it's not good enough. It's not enough. We've got to do more. I thought our set pieces were terrible today, and then we have a set piece in the second half, and we.
Sorry, can I just ask who you with?
Just PA.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
We get a set piece in that second half, and we don't even put it in the box. It ends up fading, and they counter attack off the back of that. Our set pieces were poor today, and I thought it was just poor all round.
Yeah, it did seem like Oldham was sort of first to everything, the second balls and everything. We talk about confidence, we talk about fight. We know there's not a lack of fight. We know there's players in there that care about this club. But is there anything that you can really put your finger down to as why it seems to be this way?
Yeah, I think because of where we are in the division, there's an anxiousness that naturally sets in. And sometimes you can play with that on your shoulders, and sometimes you can blank it out and play really well, which we, in my opinion, we have done. Certainly over the last 2 games. We played with less fear. MK Dons, and we played with less fear probably in big moments or big parts of the Chesterfield game. But today we played with fear, and I think we're just anxious because of where we are. We know how important it is for the club. Like you say, a lot of the players, or all of the players, I know them players in there. They're all hurting now. I've just heard them. I've just heard it in that dressing room. I've been in there. I know what the feeling is in there. They're heartbroken, and they love this club, and they become anxious within the way they play, because they want the results so hard, so much that ends up affecting them. And we've got to try I've got to try as a manager. I've got to try and make sure that they don't think like that. They've got to think about performing to the highest levels, because if they turn up and perform to the highest levels, we know what we can do. But it's about getting the best out of the lads now.
Yeah, as you say, there does seem to be an anxiousness, and how do you go about sort of really stopping that? Because obviously with every game that we go without 3 points, it seems like certainly the fan base, understandably, sort of will get more anxious. So how do you sort of break that mould with the players, really?
You just got to play with the handbrake off. Just got to play with the handbrake off. Too many players played with the handbrake on today, and kind of didn't want to be present in the game, didn't want to get on the ball, didn't want to do their job to their ability. And I said before the game, we've got to make sure that every single player is present in this game today. If we do that, then we've got a massive chance of winning. And I felt there were so many players that were off their game today that, we end up losing the game, and rightly so.
Yeah, and understandably, the fans obviously go home disappointed, but can't stress enough how big obviously this next swing game is, and how we need everybody, cheering the lads on, trying to give them a confidence boost.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the fans are massive. They're the football club. They're the lifeblood of the football club, and we've got to give them something to cheer about. And I'm sorry for what they saw today, and I know it wasn't a good spectacle, but I can assure you the players are hurting in there.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Dion, thank you for joining us. Obviously a difficult afternoon here at Oldham. What was your sort of take on the game?
It's just not good enough, is it? I feel like we're just sloppy all over the field, second best to everything. And then we try and put like our foot down in the second half, and it's too late by then. We're 2-0 down. We started off very slow. We're almost offering them chances. Fair play to them, but they didn't have to do much to get in behind. Chappie's pulled off some worldy saves again. I don't know how many times we can keep relying on him, but he's keeping us in a lot of games, and we need to sort something out because it's getting ridiculous now.
Yeah, the gaffer mentioned that it looks like the players are sort of anxious out there, maybe based on where we are in the league table. Is that something that you'd agree with, that you sort of see out there, or is it something else? Is it lack of confidence?
I think it's a bit of both. Lack of confidence, obviously, in set pieces, maybe stuff like that. But yeah, confidence, obviously, you can see from that sidelines, maybe even on the pitch, like it's almost like we're waiting for their first goal to go in, and then after that, it's like, oh, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? Same story. Whereas like the games that we have started off well, like teams turn up expecting it to be easy, and then they're like, oh wow, Crawley turned up today, and it's a test. That's how it should be. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be one way all the time, and it just feels like that at the moment, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I know obviously you weren't on the pitch at that point, but even just going back to the first goal, I think you summed it up quite well there. It was actually the first sort of period where we'd started, you know, as you said, Chappie kept us in the game for a little bit, and after that we started, you know, creating a few half chances, but started putting our foot on the ball a little bit, but then go and give a goal away at the other end. It seems to be a similar pattern at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like when we're attacking, like it's almost like everyone has to be a part of like a string, like all one string all across the pitch. Like when we're attacking, the defence get up, we stay together, so if their defence, their back line, heads it back out, we're there, clean it up and start again, attacking again and again, almost what teams do against us. Whereas right now it feels like we're attacking, and I don't know whether it's the back line, I couldn't put my finger on it, but it just, like you said, they're attacking, we have a free kick and then they go and score off it. It shouldn't be like that, it's too easy. And like you said, they're half chances, but I think we can either do better with the creating chances, be more clinical, and like you said, put them on the back foot from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and we know we've got players with quality, obviously, like yourself, and you know there are players that have been at the club before. There are a bunch of new faces as well, but we know that the players in the dressing room have got a bit of quality, and you want to see us test the goalkeeper a bit more, don't you? Really, and just like at least come away with going, like they did in the first half, going, at least we've made their goalkeeper make a good string of saves.
Yeah, of course. Like at the end of the day, like we're not a team that's going to defend 90 minutes. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be that team. Like you said, we've got quality players all over the pitch. And I just feel like we're not testing the opposition enough. Whether that's testing the goalkeeper, testing the defenders out wide, like ask some questions to them. That's how you're going to create chances. That's how you're going to put the ball in the back of the net. Whether that's trying to play out from the back and making them press and pop it around, or whether that's just playing it in behind like they did today. But if you don't ask questions, if you don't shoot, we're not going to score. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reality of football.
Yeah, how do you think we sort of snap out of this? Because obviously with every game that goes on, we obviously get closer to the end of the season. Obviously we're not in that dreaded bottom two at the moment. You know, perhaps fortunate that teams around us are helping us out a little bit. But how do you think we go about sort of snapping ourselves out of it and getting 3 points on the board?
I think, honestly, I think the confidence shout, like we kind of have to just push that away. We have to do something. Like we can all see that. Do you know what I mean? It's obvious. Like you said, we're not in the bottom two, but we're close to it. And if we can't wake up now, then before you know it, there's going to be one game left of the season, and it's too late. Fortunate enough, teams around us haven't done great either, so it's literally up for grabs for anyone. But if we don't start waking up and grabbing it ourselves, someone else will, and that's just reality of relegation zone, promotion zone, everything. And I know as a team we're too good to get relegated, but it's all good saying that. We actually have to act on it.
Perfect. Thank you, Dion.